Good morning and welcome to International Family Day at Camp Schmidt. We can go ahead and advance. We are very happy that you're here with us this morning. I'd like to make sure that everyone is aware that interpreting services are available. Los servicios de interpretación están disponibles in Spanish and also in Arabic, en español and árabe. So you will need to go to the bottom of your screen. There's a globe and you'll be able to access the interpreting from the globe. Can we proceed to the next slide with more information about that? On a computer at the bottom of the screen, you'll see that globe. Once you're on the globe, you'll click Spanish. En una computadora, en la parte baja de la pantalla, habrá un globo y haga clic en ese globo y va a elegir español, Spanish. We can go to the next slide. If you are on a smartphone or mobile device, at the bottom of the screen, you will see an ellipsis. Please tap language interpretation and tap Spanish. En un dispositivo móvil, en la parte baja de la pantalla, toca el icono de elipsis en la parte baja derecha. Toque Language Interpretation, toque Spanish. And for Arabic, the same, you're looking for the three dots, ellipsis, and select Arabic. Okay. So I would love to just say good morning and welcome to our 8th annual International Family Day at Camp Schmidt. It's such a pleasure to be able to join you this morning. I was actually a 5th grader in Prince George's County Public Schools years ago and had the wonderful experience of being a part of Camp Schmidt. So I'm really excited to be able to partner with the Schmidt Center today to be able to offer this opportunity for our families. We are really glad also to have with us the ESOL supervisor for Prince George's County Public Schools, and I'd like to turn it over to her so that she can bring greetings from the ESOL office.
Good morning,
Dr.
everyone.
Melissa Canny.
Oh, good morning, everybody. I'm so excited to be here and excited to see all of you with us today. Excited about our partnership with the ESOL office, or with the Office of Interpreting and Translation in the Schmidt Center. As I was walking my dog this morning, I saw a little red-headed woodpecker, and I was thinking about our journeys today and hoping that we will be able to experience those things and you'll be able to see the things that you will be able to experience at the Schmidt Center. So I'm excited to join you today as we experience the Schmidt Center together.
You're up, Doc.
Good morning. My name is Sylvester Conyers. I'm the Supervisor of Environmental Education Programs for Prince George's County Public Schools. It would be remiss for me not to first not only welcome you, but wish all the ladies out there a happy Mother's Day. You are the thread that weaves our society and keeps us strong. Your talents are amazing, and it is now that people are just realizing what you can do and the possibilities that you can create if just given the opportunity. Years ago, when I first took this job, I saw that there was that opportunity for certain students wasn't being made available. They weren't aware, parents weren't aware of what Schmidt was like. They were concerned about their young person going away overnight. And so I talked with Dr. Love, and we began to create a program that would embrace your ability to understand and not only Schmidt, but the importance of getting your young person involved more about knowing about the environment and the role that they should be playing. Because of all the challenges we face, and I know it's an important one, it is the environment and it's the health of the environment that we as a people and we as a species must begin to address. And it's going to start with our young people because, no offense, you see the gray hair, I'm a little older. We haven't done such a good job. We'll begin, but we will make sure that your children, your young people, have the ability to stand at the table and begin to make decisions that will support and make our environment. So enjoy the day. I know there'll be a question and answer. If you have something to ask, please ask it, or you can contact Schmidt. And I'm going to turn it over to what I call the catalyst of the Schmidt program, Mr. James Robertson.
Thank you, Dr. Conyers. Good morning, everybody. We are excited to virtually see you. Of course, we wish you were on our campus today, but we're glad you're here today regardless. We are excited to share with you all the Schmidt Center. So we primarily engage with fifth grade students all across the county. They come to our site, which you're going to learn about today, and it is residential, so they are spending the night with us. And while they're there, they go through several environmental science activities, some team building activities, and just have a great time on our campus, building friendships with students they might not ordinarily see because they're in a large school, building relationships with their teachers. This trip does a lot to promote not just academic achievement, but also some personal growth. So we're glad you're here. I'm going to turn it over. I think it goes back to the Schmidt Center staff. So welcome.
All right, thank you guys. I am Ms. Bransford. I work with the fifth grade team, and our fifth grade team at Camp Schmidt is 6 certified teachers. Most of us have worked in Prince George's County Public Schools, and 2 of us are here today, myself and
It's Lisa. Good morning. All
As
right.
we continue, I just want to, before Lisa goes over the schedule, I just want to let everyone know that we are going to be recording this morning so that we can continue our outreach to other families across Prince George's County to ensure that they are aware of how wonderful this program is. Thanks, Lisa.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Love. All right. So good morning, and welcome. So our schedule for today is as follows. You're going to see a video in a moment about that is going to be a virtual Camp Schmidt tour. So because you could not be on campus, we're going to take you there to let you see the types of activities that take place. After that, we're going to talk about what would be expected when you came on or your child came on the trip. So we're going to give you a lot of information just to try and assuage any fears or anxieties. We're going to give you a sample of a lesson that would be taught on campus. That would be the stream ecology lesson, just to show you the type of structure that we have when we get to Camp Schmidt. And then we're going to show you some of the fun activities that we have at night. So we're going to take you on a virtual wagon ride and show you some of our sites and allow you to enjoy a virtual campfire and hear a sample of a story that we might tell while on campus. So if there are questions during the course of the day, please type them in chat or raise your hand and we will answer them. Or you could write them down and save them for the parent question and answer session if you would like, and we can try to address them there. And then finally, we will close and hope to see you on our campus soon.
all right. Excuse me. Since we can't be on our beautiful campus today, we wanted to give you guys a quick tour of what it looks like and the activities that students will do while they are here.
Camp Schmidt has been serving Prince George's County for over 50 years. From humble beginnings in 1971 to being a leader in environmental education today. Early in the 1960s, Superintendent of Schools William Schmidt had a vision for students to become more comfortable in the outdoors. The center now bears his name. The early camp started with simple tents and soon turned into residential buildings in 1979. Today, over 8,000 students, 1,000 parents, and 1,000 teachers annually participate in the experience. We look forward to the next 50 years. The Confidence course is a high ropes course that allows students to traverse and climb through several different challenges, topped off with a zip line ride to the ground. The course is designed for students to reinforce self-confidence in stepping outside of their comfort zone to accomplish a task while staying safe. Stream ecology. Students explore their local watershed to determine if the stream at Camp Schmidt is healthy or not for the animals that live in the water based on data that they collect. The woodland ecology lesson introduces the forest ecosystem and related environmental concepts to students. The orienteering challenge explores the natural resources of the Chesapeake Bay region through a fictional story that is loosely based on the explorations of Captain John Smith. Problem solving. Students participate as a team to complete challenges using physical elements that represent environmental issues and concepts. In Deer Detective, students learn about the deer population in Prince George's County and the impact that it has on residents and the environment. Students get a campus tour by wagon pulled by a tractor. Since the ride is normally paired with a suspenseful story, The Legend of Old Man Clutch, the students never know what they may find along their route. Campfire. Here students have an opportunity to unwind and share a campfire experience in the evening. The campfire offers an opportunity for sharing stories and making s'mores. And now, let's meet the 5th grade team.
Hello, virtual campers.
Mr. Long from Camp Schmidt cannot wait to work with you today.
Hi, I'm Miss Fuller. Welcome to the stream. Let's see if anyone's home today.
I'm Miss Lisa. Let's all do our part to help save the environment.
Hi, I'm Mr. Miller. Together, let's explore the outdoors.
Hey students, Mr. Hartling here. Thanks for hanging out with us at Camp Schmidt.
Hey campers, this is Miss Bransford here. I can't wait to see what we cook up today.
So you heard in the video that Camp Schmidt is a 450-acre piece of land owned by Prince George's County Public Schools. Now we only use a section of it, but there are 2 sides of our campus with identical activities to accommodate 2 schools. So when your child visits Camp Schmidt, their school will be either assigned to the Orm side and stay in the old Orm building, or the Villages.
And at both sites, students will sleep in bedrooms with bunk beds, supervised by at least 1 adult per room. Students are separated by gender, as outlined by Administrative Procedure 5183. And there are showers available for student use. We have 1 centralized dining facility, and students will eat on day 1, they will eat dinner here. And on day 2, students will eat breakfast and lunch in this facility.
All right. So our goal is to encourage the students to engage in nature. And the only reason that we really have it be overnight is because there is a lot of instruction that we're packing into this trip while they're on campus. So students will rotate through 6 different classes, and that takes a long time to get through. So we don't end instruction until 5 p.m. After that, we'll feed them dinner, and then they'll take part in those nighttime activities so that when we get up in the morning the next day, immediately after breakfast, we continue our instruction. All right, so the students are only staying overnight, but we do ask for them to be prepared. There might be rain, there might be cold. So we ask them to bring multiple pairs of clothes and shoes in order for them to be comfortable in nature. Now, one item that is somewhat of a concern at times is the ability to have a cell phone. Because we don't want the students to lose or damage or have it stolen, unfortunately, it might happen, we encourage the students to leave their cell phones at home. But this would be a conversation for parents to have with their schools about allowing their child to carry their cell phone on them so that they can be reached by the parents. Oh, sorry. So we also have telephones in the dormitories. So in the evenings, we routinely have students be able to call home in the evenings to make sure that they communicate to their parents everything is fine, and they are learning and having fun. Hopefully, through communication with the teachers, maybe they could share pictures on, Facebook or Instagram of the students having fun. That will reassure you that this is a nice, safe place for your child to be.
All right, and we're going to take a quick look at our stream ecology lesson. We take the students outside and we get to go on a hike down to our stream where students will collect data to determine the health of the water on our campus. We're going to take you on a virtual hike down to the stream, so keep your eyes open, and we're going to ask you a question or two when we get down there. Enjoy the walk.
The trails are all marked so that the students can navigate them. Everyone stays together. All right. So if you're able to join us as a chaperone, that would be great. You'll get the most exercise that you've gotten in your life. So once we've gotten down, that's what the parents tell us. Once we've gotten down to the stream, we have the students make predictions based on observations. So in this instance, we would have them look at the stream and they would have to think about whether the stream is healthy or unhealthy. And we'd ask the students to look for items that would indicate whether it was healthy or unhealthy. So in the stream, I see things like leaves, rocks, sticks, sand, dirt, but when dirt gets wet, we call it mud. So I also don't see any litter or trash. So these are observations and comparisons that we would ask the students to make to this stream versus maybe a stream that they'd seen in their neighborhood. So we would also ask them other things. So there are other things that might be in the stream. We'd ask them to think about is there something that could be in the stream that might be unhealthy? And there are things that might be in the stream, like chemicals, like pesticides or fertilizers that we can't see. But we would use some other information to determine whether the stream was healthy or not. What would we use, Mary Kate?
Oh, I'll tell you, when we're on campus, the students get to actually collect a bug, a type of animal called a macroinvertebrate from our stream. And these animals, when they collect them, help us determine the health of the stream. The kids are pretty freaked out at first, but they love it.
Yeah, we definitely want them to be comfortable in nature. So in order to do this activity, we only need a few materials, and this is something that they can actually duplicate and do at home back by a nearby stream or park that they go to.
All right, so we're gonna watch Miss Lisa down at the stream. This is what the students will actually do on the trip. First, she's going to fill up her bowl with some stream water so that when she finds a macroinvertebrate organism, she'll be able to put it in water. These animals live in water, and so therefore they need to stay in the water to be okay. We'll take her net and scoop up some of those leaves and sticks. And in there, hiding, camouflaging really well, it looks like a stick there, but actually there's an animal that made its house out of sticks and leaves. And then it hides inside of its home. And Miss Lisa is an expert at finding those animals. I'll show you a little close-up in a minute. So she's gonna have to look carefully, and most of the time when students are doing this, they say, I don't have anything. There's nothing here. It's leaves and rocks and sticks. And it's really amazing. After a while, you look at these leaves and you can see all sorts of animals. Look right here, you can see all of a sudden all the things crawling around in there. Do you see them? There's some more. And none of them can hurt the kids. And then we make sure we put them all into our containers with stream water. They're all really small little friends. And at the end, we make sure we put our leaves and all of the organisms back in the stream so that we don't disrupt the ecosystem. Oh, there's some more. Miss Lisa is really good at finding these organisms. And you can see all the different kinds of organisms that we find. At the end, it's pretty amazing, the diversity of life in that stream. That one, we say it does the worm, the dance move. All right, so that's what we do with the kids.
All right, so let's look a little closer at what we collected. So usually students are a little freaked out about collecting bugs. However, they really do appreciate nature by the time they engage with this lesson. So here are some of the organisms, the animals that we found, and we're going to ask the students to make some observations of their structures in order to identify them. Look a little closer.
All right. Here's our
In this
first
video,
one.
we're going to look for an organism. And you see how well they camouflage? So we also teach the students to appreciate nature and respect nature. And there are ways to pick up organisms properly so that neither one, the students nor the organism, is hurt. So that guy even has little pinchers, but they're not trying to hurt anyone. They just are scared. All right, so I wonder, this is your opportunity to interact if you would like. So we're gonna ask you if you would like to identify this organism. So if you look at the picture on the left, you have a sample of something that we collected, and on the right are some choices. So you should identify whether it is number 1, 2, or 3 on the right. And you can type that in chat with your response.
So again, in the chat, oh, Leah says it's 2. Ooh, everyone's saying 2. Genesis or Genesis. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Rayon. Ooh, we're getting lots of votes for 2. Oh, and Eric said they both have the same fins and pinchers. Nice observation, Eric. I'm liking it. Let's see if you guys are right.
I'm kind of picturing the students taking over the computer at this point and doing it for their parents. But maybe it's the parents too. That would be great.
So, Miss Lisa, are they right?
They are right. That is a crayfish. It's also called a crawfish or a crawdad, depending on what area of the United States that you're in. Maybe you've used it to fish, or maybe you've eaten it at Popeyes.
Hey, Miss Lisa and I always disagree on how to pronounce.
Yes, we do.
All right, here's your second one. This one might be a little bit trickier. This is that guy that I told you about earlier that makes its home out of sticks. It actually can like build a little case that it lives in. And sometimes it builds it out of pebbles too. They're really cool. They're my favorite. Don't tell the other animals. All right. Oh, I gave it away, maybe. All right, what do you guys think? 1, 2, or 3? Which one is it? Ooh, these guys look kind of similar. You're really gonna have to pay attention to the details.
And I changed the settings, so the answers are only going to Dr. Love now.
Oh.
So we're not giving away the answers to everyone.
Oh, Rayon said number 3. Let's see. Yeah, like if you look at number 1 and 2, right? Number 1 has 2 tails and 2 antennae, but number 2 has 3 tails. And then that third one, oh, you're right. It's the caddisfly larva. And you can see that in the picture, the animal is hiding inside of his case.
So it looks like we had lots of correct answers, Miss Lisa and Miss Mary Kate. The Cabrera family, the Hernandez family, they all said 3.
Very cool.
They got it.
Nice. So now we get to see my favorite animal. This is the one that students love to handle. It is an organism that doesn't have any barbs on its legs, so it's very easy to handle. It's not rough. It's very smooth. This organism actually could fly away if it wanted to, but it usually is found on the surface of the water, swimming around really, really fast. It looks like a speedboat. So which one do you think this one is? Do you think it's 1, 2, or 3? Should have made this a little bit trickier. We got to challenge them next time.
Change the coloring and then they're all the same color. You have to really look carefully. I think I'm going to stump them with the last one.
I think so. I don't know, maybe.
Looks like we have some great answers coming in.
Were you right?
Did you get whirligig beetle? Yep, that is a beetle. And all beetles can actually fly.
I don't know how to translate whirligig into Arabic or Spanish.
Carvajal got it right. The Rodriguez family, Hernandez, Marrero, Rayon, they all got it right.
Yay!
Number 1.
All right.
Uno.
Here's the hardest one now. This is the hardest one. Take a look at this guy. This one, he's the only one that has teeny tiny little pinchers on him, but he doesn't hurt. He just kind of crawls around, got lots of legs. Okay. So you can see the big picture. You might recognize number 1, but look at number 2 and 3. Which one is this? Is it 1, 2, or 3? Gotta look carefully this time. I bet I'm gonna stump a few of you.
All right, we have answers coming in.
Did you get it right?
And everyone's correct. And the rationale was because his face has 2 pinchers and there are 2 back tails.
Nice job, guys. Very good observation skills. And this is called a hellgrammite. They are feisty little macroinvertebrates. Nice job, guys.
I have a question, Miss Mary Kate. Do they bite?
So these guys, this one specifically does have little pinchers.
And can defend itself, but they're not going to try to be aggressive with you. If you squeeze them, I'm sure that if someone were to squeeze you, you might also bite someone. However, if you just, as Miss Kathy was showing you, if you just hold them in your hands, they'll just walk on your hand like you're a stone. They don't believe that you're a predator trying to hurt them. So
unless you start,
messing with them.
Good question.
Awesome. So what does this all mean? So for the students, they're going to have to draw conclusions. They'll interpret that data. So we tally it up. We try to identify all of the organisms that we found in the stream. And based on the ones that we found, we can figure out whether the stream is healthy or not. So this has a lot of instructional significance. We're making them think all the time. They have to identify, they have to interpret, they draw conclusions. So, and they're having fun. They really do have fun handling the organisms that they didn't think that they were going to handle when we first started.
Most students at the beginning of this lesson are squealing and shrieking and saying bug. And by the end, they're like, I want to hold it. So that kind of leads us to the question of like, why is this so important to take kids down to the stream? And as most people who grew up a little bit ago, our kids don't spend as much time outside in the mud and in the streams as they used to. And this type of learning is really valuable to students when they get their hands wet and they touch these macroinvertebrates. This is a really transformative experience for the students. It makes science come alive. It's no longer just in a book. It's something that's actually tangible to them. There's a real social emotional impact of the students being together, working as a team out in the nature. It bonds the students together and to the students to their teachers, and parents that come always talk about what a wonderful experience it is. I'm trying to find my cursor. And finally, we have a thread throughout most of our lessons that's a focus on environmental stewardship, and that, we need to protect the resources that we have in front of us and be the leaders for tomorrow. So we're hoping to start building leaders in our schools that will take on this responsibility.
All right. So now it's one of the most enjoyable parts of the trip, and that's the wagon ride that happens at the end of the day. So get ready. Mr. Robertson is going to take us on a wild virtual ride on the wagon.
Thank you, Miss Lisa. I'm excited. So what you've seen so far is a focus on academics. And what you're going to see now is in the evening, we do take the kids on a wagon ride. So you'll get some sense of the wagon ride right now in the video. So as you heard, we have a large campus. It's 450 acres. Now, they don't get to see it all. They'll see probably, somewhere around 25 to 50 acres. But we have some pathways throughout the campus that we can take our tractor and wagon on. And so we put the kids in the back of the wagon, which is what you see now, and load them all up and take them on a tour around campus. So you're seeing what you saw earlier on the aerial video of campus. So this is one of our sides of campus. I do want to point out the house here. This is a house on our property. It's vacant, of course, now. And it also was part of a scary story that we tell the kids about a particular ghost that may live in there, Old Man Clutch. So if your kids come home and talk about Old Man Clutch, it'll be related to that house. Here you can see our confidence course, which you saw also in the video. Then they get a sense of kind of a larger picture of the forest that we have on campus. Now, sometimes this wagon ride will happen during daylight hours. If it was this time of year, it would certainly be in daylight hours. And it could also happen at night if they're on campus in the winter. Here you can see our campfire circle. You'll learn a lot more about that after this video. But this is where the kids gather for a campfire. Now we are approaching the dormitories that we refer to as the villages. So this would be where the kids are sleeping and the parents are sleeping and the teachers are sleeping. We've got three buildings with a lot of bunk beds. So you can see in this wagon ride that for part of the time, we stay on our gravel roads. There's no traffic. And of course, back there, this is our private property. And then there are times when we would be off the gravel road and we take them back into the woods. You can get a good view of where the kids would sit. They are sitting on the wagon. You can see that from this shot here. And then once we go back through the woods, we would come back to our private road, our gravel road, and return the kids either back to the dormitories or back to our nature center. But this is one of the highlights of the trip and one way that we promote kind of fun evening activities and just keep the kids busy during the evening hours. You know, one of the things we want to do is make sure they've had a great experience on campus and one that is very fatiguing and tiring, so they're ready to go to bed in the evening.
Normally that's not too hard. And one of the things the students really look forward to is a campfire that we have. And Mr. Hartling here is one of our 5th grade team members, and he just wanted to give a quick explanation for why it's so special.
The campfire at Camp Schmidt is usually a time that we sit back and reflect on our day and share some of our favorite moments, enjoy a special treat, sing some songs, tell some stories, and just relax with our friends in a way that we don't normally get to on a regular school day. Although we're in a virtual environment and we all don't get to feel the warmth of the fire and enjoy the camaraderie of being next to each other, we can still take this time to reflect on some of the things that you learned today, share some of our stories, and spend some time together in a way that is a little bit different than what we're normally doing here in virtual learning.
And so every time we have a campfire, we always tell campfire stories. So we just wanted to give you an example of a campfire story that you might hear, or your child or children might hear around the fire. This is also a book that is used in the schools. So we're not going to end the story for you. So you might have to go and finish reading the book in order to find out the end. It's called The Taily Po.
A long time ago, an old man lived by himself in the deep, big woods. His cabin had only one room, and that room was his parlor, his bedroom, his dining room, and his kitchen too. The old man had 3 dogs. One was called Uno, one was called Ino, and one was called Cumtico Calico. One day, the man decided to go hunting to catch something for his supper. "Here, here, here!" he shouted to his dogs, and they came bounding off the porch, eager for a chase. After many hours of hunting, the wind began to blow hard from the valley. "It'll be dark soon," the old man said, "and all we've caught is this skinny rabbit." He headed home, afraid he might go to bed hungry that night. The old man cooked and ate the rabbit and gave the bones to the dogs. Then he leaned back in his chair and watched the moon as it rose up big and full. The wind whistled around the cabin. Just as the old man was about to doze off, a most curious creature crept through a crack between the logs in the wall. It had a big, long, furry tail. As soon as the old man saw the varmint, he reached for his hatchet, and with one lick, he cut its tail off. Before the man could raise his hatchet a second time, the creature slipped out through the crack and ran away. The old man was still hungry, so he took that big, long tail, cooked it, and ate it. After that, he stuffed up the crack in the wall and went to bed. His stomach was full, and he felt so warm and snug that before he knew it, he was asleep. The old man hadn't been asleep very long when he woke up. Something was climbing up the side of his cabin. It sounded like a cat. Scratch, scratch, scratch. "Who's that?" the old man asked. He lay still and listened. And after a while, he heard a voice say, "Tally-bo, Tally-bo, all I want is my Tally-bo." The scratching went on, and the old man began to shiver and shake. Then he remembered his dogs. He went to the door and called, "Here, here, here!" The dogs came piling out from under the porch, and with their noses to the ground, they chased that thing into the deep, big woods.
But you'll either have to watch the video or read the story to find out what happens next.
You're gonna leave us? We don't know?
Use
You're not
your
gonna tell us?
imagination. How do you think the story ends?
I don't know. I saw George listening. Georgie, are you going to write the end of the story? All right. So friends, if you are a student listening and watching, we have an opportunity for you to do an activity. You can pick one of the 2 things here. If you're still watching, we want you to write an ending to the Tally-bo adventure. Think about how it might end. Maybe you could even add an illustration of your story. Or you can imagine that you are at Camp Schmidt today and show us in a picture what you would like to be doing at Camp Schmidt. Would you be at the stream? Maybe you'd be on the wagon. Maybe you'd be at a campfire. try to tell us in your picture what you are going to do. Okay. Now the rest of us adults, we are going to do a question and answer session right now with our lots of different people. We have some parents, some supervisors, lots of different people. All right, Dr. Love, I believe you're going to run the show here. Yes.
Yes, I'm here. All right. So this is the time of the event that we want to open the floor for parents to be able to ask questions. We know that you have received a lot of information from the Camp Schmidt, the William Schmidt Center staff today, but we know that parents always have a number of questions so that they can be more comfortable with knowing about exactly some of the details and ensuring that they feel confident sending their child to Camp Schmidt. So we'd like to ask you if you have any questions. You can either post them in the chat or you can raise your hand so that we can begin responding. We're very grateful to have Dr. Conyers, who is the supervisor of the environmental education program, as well as Mr. James Roberson. And we are hopefully going to be joined in a few moments by Ms. Lillian Garcia, who is also a PGCPS parent who has had her child at Camp Schmidt as well. So please let us know if you have any questions. You can put them in the chat or you can raise your hand. And actually, you know what I think might be a good idea? Miss Lisa, can we go ahead and take everyone off of mute so that we can get questions to come through? Okay, we have a first question coming through. And this is a fantastic question from the Rodriguez family. Will there be any chance in the future for the students that did not go so that they can go next year? Great question.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Okay. At this time, we don't really have the capability, once we are able to bring students back, of having students who missed the trip come back to Schmidt. Our capacity is limited to just the students that are in the 5th grade. We supply students, so that parents know, with a 5th grade virtual trip, but we know that falls far short of being at Schmidt. So right now, we just don't have the capacity to do that.
And I would like to thank you, Dr. Conyers. I'd like to also add that the Schmidt Center has been also facilitating opportunities for students to visit virtually throughout the entire school year. So they've been having schools to set up virtual visits, and students have had the opportunity to connect that way. So as a school district, we will definitely be updating parents as soon as the opportunity avails itself for us to return to Camp Schmidt in person. Great question from the Rodriguez family. Any other questions? I have a question that may be helpful for families. So since we know that students are not allowed to bring their cell phones, how does the Schmidt Center handle communication if there's ever an emergency?
Whenever there's an emergency, you know, they're 5th graders. We understand that there's a maturity and an immaturity within them. So if they need to make a phone call, they just talk to a program specialist. We have one of our members of our staff remain at each school throughout the entire trip. So if they need to make a phone call, they can ask their teacher or they can ask the program specialist, and they're allowed to communicate with them. If a parent calls, usually the parent has the cell phone number of the teacher that's in the school, because after 5 o'clock, we don't have anyone staying in our main office to communicate any messages. So we rely on students just speaking up if they need to call their parents. That if parents want to call, usually a school will allow or give them information as to how they can call one of the teachers, and the teacher then communicates with the student. Does that answer the question?
I think that
Yeah.
does answer the question. Thank you so much, Dr. Conyers, around that. Any other questions?
Can I add a couple of things? Oh, you have a question, huh? Can I add a couple of things, Dr. Love?
Certainly, certainly.
Some questions that I typically get are, do we have a secure, your students are secure, we are out in the wilderness, we are out off of Brandywine Road. If you've ever been down the Brandywine area, we're down in there. We don't have many people ever come by there except they're visiting. So it's a secure campus. The doors are locked at night. Cost for your young person for going on the trip is zero. The only thing we ask you to do is bring clothes and sleeping accommodations for them to stay overnight. And there's a list we normally give you. And we ask you to pack a lunch because the first day you get there about 11 o'clock and it's lunch. And I would have to ask Ms. Lisa to also indicate that it's a lunch that doesn't have a lot of glass papers or anything. We want to have as many recyclable materials as possible. So again, we emphasize that. And the lunch is the only meal that we're asked you to provide, and then all other meals we take care of. In the case that you're not able to provide it, your school should be able to provide it. In the case your school or your can't provide it, we still make sure that they eat because our premise is we will let no student go hungry.
Fantastic. That's really important information so that parents have those details. I also have another question because we have parents who are interested in maybe chaperoning when we're able to return to the Camp Schmidt Center. How does a parent sign up to become a chaperone, and what is that process like?
I'm glad you asked that. If a parent wants to come, and again, they have to first talk with the 5th grade teacher to make sure that they express that desire, they want to go on the trip. What they have to do there then is go through, the system has a background check that they go through, and that's done through the school system, and they have to provide the documentation that's necessary to indicate they're going through the background check. That is for the safety of all students so that we can make sure that parents that don't have experience that we don't want to have at Schmidt in their background. So we don't control that. It's the school that does that. And if the school says fine and they have the documentation, they are allowed. Do they have to pay anything? No. Do they just have to bring a lunch and bring clothes. Do not wear Gucci pump heels. Do not wear tight jeans or anything like that because you're out in the outdoors. And as Ms. Lee Sang indicated, you're very tired at the end of the day because you're going to do more walking than you're used to. But you're going to enjoy it. And you're going to enjoy watching your young person just experience something that, because of the way our society is structured, they don't normally experience. So summatively, you have to get a background check through the school system. If you have problems finding that information about, should be on the website, please contact your school. And if your school doesn't answer, please contact me and I'll get you through that.
Absolutely, Dr. Conyers. Thank you so much for that information. It is really an outstanding opportunity for parents to be able to participate in Family Day. We are really pleased to be able to welcome Ms. Lillian Garcia. She is a Prince George's County Public Schools parent, and her daughter was able to attend Camp Schmidt as a 5th grader with Cherokee Lane Elementary School. Ms. Garcia, would you like to share a little bit about your experience with Camp Schmidt?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Well, I went on the it was I think it was International Day. I can't remember, but it was for the parents that they come to see the site. And honestly, I went with my toddler, but the experience that the kids had, to me as a parent, when I went to see the site, it was amazing because they do a lot of outdoors activities, and on that day the parents were able to participate on all the activities. Well, and as it's not all the activities because it was for a few hours for the parents, but the experience that I had, I was like, oh my God, this is really amazing what the kids experience as a fifth grade. And it's like of the classroom, they they get dirty, they do a lot of a lot of fun. My daughter, when she went there, she was like, I will say this: we are very protective with her. I, well, I, she's the only girl that we have. We have two kids, but I was like, oh my God, there's nothing that I had to worry about. It. She's in good hands. One, because as a fifth grader, they go for one night. But her, we were like, oh my God, she can go on her own. I think she's ready. We were like, oh my, for the first time, we let her to go for over there by herself, and she was like, mommy, that was the most amazing experience that I had. We did a lot of activities. It was like nonstop. um
Ms.
they,
Garcia, and that's so important. Thank you for sharing that, because I know that sometimes as parents, and I'm a parent too, we have really a big apprehension, right, about sending our
yes.
children away for an overnight. But the one thing I think that's really critical that you shared is that your daughter had an amazing experience and was able to learn so much and be around her peers. And I think also knowing that she was part of a Prince George's County Public Schools program with certified teachers and leadership who have the students in mind and are always around the safety and precautions and protection of our students. Thank you so much for sharing that
You're
information, Ms.
welcome.
Garcia. We
Okay.
appreciate having you. Okay, we have a couple of more questions that we'd like to be able to get to. We have a question from Ms. Leah. Ms. Leah? Do you want to unmute and ask your question? Ms. Maria?
Hello. My mom wanted to ask you guys if you're gonna open this year.
La pregunta en español, si vamos a abrir este año. Okay.
That's a very good question. And we're still awaiting answers from our school system, because we want to make sure that it's safe to have young people back in schools. We want to make sure that they catch up on their education and that we're on field trips. So therefore, we want to make sure that we're allowed to do field trips. And all that's decided by our system, looking at health guidelines and what the CDC is saying and everything else like that. So all that said, we expect the possibility of Schmidt reopening sometime next year, but we're not sure of that. And so we're also planning to try to do some activities, maybe coming out to schools or maybe doing more virtual trips or whatever. But we don't control when students are allowed. We just have to prepare a plan, which we had a year ago, as to what it would be like to come to Schmidt under different conditions. And I have an outstanding fifth grade team. And James, they do an excellent job of making sure that regardless of whenever you come back, it is safe.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dr. Conyers, for sharing that really important information. We had another question that is similar and kind of aligns with that around wondering whether people are going to be required to be vaccinated for COVID-19 in order to go to Camp Schmidt. Would you mind responding to that also within the context of the school system?
Within the context of, we cannot separately say you need to be vaccinated unless the school system says that everyone needs to be vaccinated for just attending school. So the school system makes that decision. Then That's the decision the school system makes, and therefore young people be vaccinated. But currently, at the time, the Schmidt Center cannot say we only want young people that are vaccinated. We can't do that unless they say for field trips you have to be vaccinated. It is the school system, not the Schmidt Center, that will craft that policy.
Thank you so much, Dr. Conyers. So just to reiterate, the school system will be communicating all of the parameters that are required at the time that we are able to resume field trips, whether they are field trips outside of the school system or field trips to school system premises like the William S. Schmidt Center, like the Howard B. Owen Science Center. So please stay tuned. Please make sure that you are reading communication that's coming from your school and from your principal, because all of that information will be involved and included in the communication for you to be able to, for us to resume those field trips. Great questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for better stating what I tried to state. But if you have any questions about it, you're not clear, call the center. That number we give out, if you want me to say it, it's 301-888-1185. I will always take questions from parents or anybody, because that's my responsibility to clarify anything that you're not getting an answer about.
Awesome, Dr. Conyers, thank you. And just a reminder for parents that if you are calling the Schmidt Center and there is not someone immediately available who speaks your language, the Schmidt Center is able to utilize a telephonic interpreter to support communication. So feel free to call them at any time and they will ensure that communication is available for you. Okay, are there any, I think we are getting close to wrapping up. Are there any additional questions? This has been a really great session of question and answer. We want to be sure that families feel totally comfortable in knowing more about the Schmidt Center, about the program, and how we can ensure that students are being able to be a part of this program. Any other questions?
I just wanted to add something real quick. This is James.
Sure.
We do get questions occasionally about students that need to bring medication onto campus because they take medications at home. That is coordinated through your school and the school nurse. And if those medications need to come onto campus because they need to take them in the morning or evening, whatever it may be, that is allowed as long as it's coordinated through the school nurse and the proper forms are filled out. And then that medicine is monitored by an adult on campus from the school.
Thank you, James. Really important information that collaboration happens to make sure we're keeping students safe and medications are secure. Awesome. All right. I think we are ready to move to the next slide and wrap up. Thank you again to Ms. Garcia for joining us to talk a little bit more about her experience and the experience of her daughter. And we have come to the end of our International Family Day at Camp Schmidt, our virtual International Family Day at Camp Schmidt. Once again, this was our 8th annual experience together, our first time virtually, but we're so glad that you attended with us this morning and took an opportunity to join us. We do look forward collectively to seeing you on campus, both at schools and at Camp Schmidt in the future. When the parameters and when the time is right, we really look forward to being able to welcome students to Camp Schmidt again. So Ms. Lisa has posted a link in the chat for an evaluation. We would love to get your feedback around the experience that you've had today, and also in that evaluation, you're able to, if you think of any additional questions that you want to ask, you can certainly put them in there. But we really want to know if you are ready to be able to send your child back to Camp Schmidt, or if there's any other details or information you feel that would be helpful for yourself or other families in your community as you are preparing for your 5th grader. Now remember this program is for 5th graders to go to Camp Schmidt. I also would be remiss if I didn't mention, we additionally have another camp called Hard Bargain Farm that some schools go to, because as you can imagine, Prince George's County is an incredibly large district. And we have this connection with Hard Bargain Farm, which offers a similar science program for some of our schools. So we really thank you for joining today. As Dr. Conyers mentioned a little earlier, and I'm a mom myself, we want to wish every mom a happy Mother's Day. And we hope that kiddos that are on the call, that you are figuring out really cool and exciting ways to celebrate mom tomorrow for Mother's Day. So thank you all so much. Please take a moment to fill out the evaluation that is linked here in the chat. And we look forward to seeing you at Camp Schmidt sometime soon. Any closing remarks from the Camp Schmidt team? Thank you very much to Ms. Lisa. Thank you a tremendous amount to Ms. Mary Kate, also to Mr. James and Dr. Conyers for this collaboration with the ESOL office. A huge debt of gratitude to Dr. Canny for ensuring that this program can continue through Title III. And I'd also like to give a huge shout out to our interpreting team who's on the line today in the background, Mr. Wilbur, Miss Eliana, also Ms. Rafa and Ms. Fatima, who have been providing interpreting services in the background all morning. So thank you to them as well. We look forward to being able to have this opportunity again next year at Camp Schmidt. And in the meantime, please spread the word about the wonder of the William S. Schmidt Center. This is a fantastic, fantastic program that has been a part of Prince George's County Public Schools for decades. And thank you for joining us today.
Please be safe, parents. Please be safe and get those shots.
That's it.